Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng received 12 invitations, out of which he needs to visit Yuan Xiong Palace Master in person. The other 11 are all elders, mostly not as strong as Luo Feng, who sent their visitation cards first and then came to visit him one after another. Haha, brother Luo Feng easily crushed Elder Qian He in battle, truly making a name for himself in Yulon City, a man in a purple robe said with a laugh. Vice Hall Master Zhuju, please have a seat. Luo Feng had already prepared some fruits and wine. Both sides sat down. I joined Qianbao Hall at the invitation of brother Qianbao, the man in a purple robe sighed. In the blink of an eye, it's already been hundreds of millions of epochs. Qianbao Hall is indeed quite famous among the merchants in Yulon City. Luo Feng nodded in praise. Regarding the quality of weapon secret treasures they sell, they should be ranked in the top 3 in Yulon City. Luo Feng was just saying something nice. In reality, Qianbao Hall barely ranks 3rd in the weapon secret treasures industry in Yulon City. It's already quite an achievement, the man in a purple robe said. In Yulon City, Master Gai Dao leads in this weapon secret treasures industry, with his single entity holding more than 50% of the market. The other merchants have a hard time surviving. Luo Feng listened. The core strength of Qianbao Hall is their mastery in artifact refining by Master of Thousand Treasures Hall, who wholeheartedly dedicates himself to artifact refining and is not willing to be distracted by trivial matters. Vice Hall Master Zhuju is responsible for sales and many other matters. These two elder-level beings lead the Qianbao Hall. In the industry of weapon secret treasures, security is very important, the man in a purple robe lamented. After all, as the number of weapon secret treasures increases, their value becomes extremely high. Whether it's cultivators or low-level primordial life who infiltrate, they always think about seizing them. Luo Feng nodded. For such top-notch large merchants, being robbed once can mean losses calculated in billions of primordial crystals. For people like the Master of Thousand Treasures Hall, it would be extremely painful. Precious secret treasures can be worth tens of millions of primordial crystals. Just 100 of them amounts to a huge fortune, Luo Feng remarked sentimentally. During a theft millions of epochs ago, we lost over 20 billion primordial crystals, the man in purple self-mockingly said. That incident almost cleaned out all of our publicly displayed weapon secret treasures. It severely wounded us, and even to this day, we haven't been able to confirm the real identity of the raiders. What's a theft of a weak cultivator, after all? In Yulon City, real raids target large merchants. With brother Qianbao and me in Qianbao Hall, and with us two elders and the support of our formation, we were still robbed, unable to even ascertain the identity of the opponents. The man in purple sighed. Actually, from another aspect, it can be deduced that the raiders should be some being ranked among the top 20 in the city. Only overpowering strength can achieve this. This is why we come to invite you, brother Luo Feng. The man in purple looked at Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, you could easily defeat Elder Qian He. In terms of strength, you would definitely rank among the top 100 in Yulon City. With brother Qianbao and me joining forces, plus the defensive formation of Qianbao Hall, no one in Yulon City could think about raiding us unless 3 palace masters make their move. The power Luo Feng displayed indeed far exceeds that of a common elder. As long as you join our Qianbao Hall, you will naturally become a vice hall master, with a status comparable to mine and brother Qianbao's, the man in purple said, and each epoch, we can give you 10,000 primordial crystals. 10,000 primordial crystals each epoch, which if over many epochs, would amount to 1 billion primordial crystals. This is also the rather normal income for those at the elder level. They don't need to venture outside the city to continuously have income. Although less than hunting, it's safer and sustainable. Of course. The man in purple continued, joining any side comes with a bonus. We can give a bonus of 200 million primordial crystals. You know, after that previous raid, our loss in Qianbao Hall was quite substantial. Thus, these 200 million primordial crystals need to be paid in 2 installments. One when Brother Luo Feng joins, and another after 10,000 epochs. 200 million primordial crystals as a bonus. And split in 2. Luo Feng looked at him. Generally, the bonus for an elder-level existence is about 200 million. But I am not ordinary. If my strength were less than Elder Tian He, Qianbao Hall wouldn't have come to invite me. It might seem a bit less, the man in purple smiled and said, but Brother Luo Feng, you come from Source World with many avatars. You can completely join several houses. And my Qianbao Hall is also under Wei Yang Palace Master. You know, Yuan Xiong Palace Master was severely injured, and nowadays he almost doesn't make a move anymore. The future of Yulon City will be decided by Wei Yang Palace Master, the man in purple said. By joining Qianbao Hall, you naturally become one of Wei Yang Palace Master's own. Luo Feng nodded. I understand the terms you offered, Brother Zhuju. Frankly, they are a bit low compared to other invitations. The man in purple's face slightly changed. Yes, Brother Luo Feng, you have many avatars, please give us a hand or two, and Qianbao Hall will certainly remember this favor. I'll think about it. Luo Feng stood up, signifying the end of the meeting. The man in purple had no choice but to stand and leave. Just deploying an avatar, and still fussing over so little. He was quite dissatisfied, but there was nothing he could do, as Qianbao Hall is now rather strapped for funds. Visits from one elder-level being after another, Luo Feng had interactions with each of them. Before meeting with Yuan Xiong Palace Master, Luo Feng indeed prepared, planning to send avatars to join several forces to secure substantial income to support his early phase of cultivation. But ever since receiving the 50 billion primordial crystals gift from Yuan Xiong Palace Master, Luo Feng's thoughts changed. Emperor Qing brother. Luo Feng and Emperor Qing met. These past couple of days, quite a few elder-level beings have come to visit Brother Luo Feng, Emperor Qing said with a smile. 11 houses invited me, help me see which one suits best. Luo Feng waved his hand, and many pieces of information floated in the air, precisely the details of the 11 invitations. Emperor Qing looked up at this information, memorizing it in a glance. Brother Luo Feng, how many houses are you planning to join? Emperor Qing asked. Just one, Luo Feng said. Just one. With so many avatars, shouldn't you earn a bit more? Emperor Qing couldn't help saying, with 11 houses inviting, all offering billions as a one-time payment. If it were him, Emperor Qing, he would definitely choose several. Luo Feng shook his head. Just pick one. It can be from the neutral camp, or from Yuan Xiong Palace Master's side. Yuan Xiong Palace Master's camp is relatively weak now, said Emperor Qing. Among the 11 families, there are 4 from the neutral camp, and 2 are with Yuan Xiong Palace Master. In terms of conditions, Dan Tower offers better ones, and the Changqing building owner also has a good reputation. But choosing Dan Tower, the trouble will be greater, as Dan Tower and Insect Nest have always had conflicts. No pain, no gain, Luo Feng nodded. I also lean towards Dan Tower, so let's go with it. Out of 11 invitations, Luo Feng chose only one, Dan Tower. Emperor Ming, Di Fu. Luo Feng called out. Soon, Emperor Ming and Di Fu arrived promptly. Brother Luo Feng, said Emperor Ming. What is it, any good news? Di Fu smiled. Take a seat. Luo Feng looked at the 3 present. Many factions in Yulon City invited us, and I have decided to choose Dan Tower, to take on the role of vice building owner. According to what Changqing building owner said before, I also invite the three of you to join. For Dan Tower, as one of the factions, arranging 3 positions for Emperor Qing, Emperor Ming, and Di Fu was easily manageable, which also helped secure Luo Feng better. The 3 of you, willing to join together? Luo Feng asked. Willing, of course willing, Di Fu immediately said. Couldn't ask for more. Emperor Ming also didn't hesitate. To obtain resources without taking risks, who would refuse such a good deal? Emperor Qing was also satisfied. As a mid-stage divine emperor enlightened one, joining a faction would generally mean middle or high-level positions. But those middle and high-level positions are very limited. Who would hire him if not enough trust was there? Because of Luo Feng's relation, Dan Tower also invited all 3 of them. Emperor Qing just needed to arrange an avatar to take up a position, and then he could have a steady income. Since all of you agree, then I'll contact Changqing building owner. Luo Feng nodded. In the weapons secret treasures industry, within Yulon City, Master Gai Dao's faction is an absolute overlord, occupying more than half of the market share. But in the alchemy industry, it's fiercely competitive, with no single faction having a particularly large share. Dan Tower is one of the top forces in Yulon City's pharmaceutical industry. Brother Luo Feng, Brother Luo Feng. I finally waited for you. An excited silver-haired elder greeted warmly. So many visited you yesterday, and I was quite uneasy. I was afraid our little Dan Tower couldn't invite you. Today, when I received your message, I was excited all the way until now. Luo Feng, unlike the typical elders. Conservatively speaking, Luo Feng is among the top 100 in strength in Yulon City. Even various factions in Yulon City believe that Luo Feng Divine Emperor might have the strength of the top 50. Such a being garrisoning a faction that would be much more stable. From now on, I will be a member of Dan Tower. Luo Feng smiled. Luo Feng, greetings to the building owner. Brother Luo Feng, don't be so polite, no need for that, the silver-haired elder smiled warmly. The silver-haired elder then sighed, speaking of which, I am also one of the oldest elders who built the city with Yuan Xiong Palace Master. But Yuan Xiong Palace Master has been contaminated by high-level primordial life and hardly intervenes anymore. We old folks are not having a good time either, especially after the insect nest master came to Yulon City. He has targeted me everywhere. Oh? Luo Feng was surprised. The insect nest master, too, is adept at alchemy techniques, the silver-haired elder disdainfully said. Insect nest master can extract some essence of life and turn it into medicine. However, his school is bloody and evil, which I really don't admire. The silver-haired elder sighed. Unfortunately, with the insect nest master being strong and domineering, he resorts to other tricks since he can't compete with me in normal business. Now with Brother Luo, it's different. The silver-haired elder looked at Luo Feng. Brother Luo, you can study our Dan Tower's formations. Whatever formation you need to assist you, just speak up. I will buy the suitable formation. Also, here's the agreed remuneration, 500 million primordial crystals. The silver-haired elder took out a cloth bag in a flip of his hand. The one-time payment he offered was obviously on the higher end. This elder, who built the city with Yuan Xiong Palace Master, is quite strong in terms of wealth accumulation. This 500 million primordial crystals, building owner should take back. Luo Feng smiled. I plan to convert them all into various auxiliary elixirs within Dan Tower. Oh? The silver-haired elder was delighted upon hearing this. Using them all to buy elixirs, that could somewhat recoup some of the losses. Even if the 3 palace masters come to buy elixirs, they would also get the lowest 7 parts price. The silver-haired elder looked at Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, as my Dan Tower vice building owner, you get the same purchasing price as me, the lowest 6 parts price. Changqing building owner, if taking some elixirs, also has to pay in primordial crystals. Even at 6 parts price, this price has almost no profit. But at least, it would convert the accumulated elixirs into an income of 500 million primordial crystals, which pleased Chongqing building owner greatly. 6 parts price. Thank you, building owner, Luo Feng expressed his gratitude. You're welcome, the silver-haired elder laughed. By the way, brother Luo Feng, are your 3 hometown old friends willing to come to Dan Tower? They are naturally willing, Luo Feng said. As for what they will do, building owner, please assign them roles based on their abilities. All right, the silver-haired elder's smile grew even brighter. Fellow cultivators from the same source world naturally have an unusual relationship. By securing those 3, it ties up the relationship with Luo Feng to some extent. As relying solely on resources to entice is not quite stable enough. With Luo Feng Divine Emperor here, Dan Tower's business can operate normally, the silver-haired elder thought. The previous days were too stifling. Knowing the conflict between Dan Tower and Insect Nest, there were no elder-level beings willing to join Dan Tower. Until today, they finally waited for Luo Feng. The Dan Tower occupies a vast area. After all, it is the top power in the alchemy industry of Yulon City. While its location isn't as good as Luo Feng's cave mansion, its area is several hundred times larger. There are over 100 large and small pavilions within the Dan Tower, the largest of which is the main pavilion open to the public, and it is also the main pavilion where elixirs are sold. The other pavilions are mostly where the alchemists reside and conduct their alchemy. Buzz. At the main pavilion, Luo Feng sensed the formation of the entire grand construct of the Dan Tower with a thought. The Chongqing building owner did not obstruct, and allowed Luo Feng to perceive the detailed formation of the Dan Tower. The current formation of the Dan Tower is mainly suitable for me, Chongqing building owner said. Brother Luo Feng, take a look and see how to arrange a formation that suits you. As for the materials you need to purchase for the formation, just mention them, there's no need to be frugal. Fixed arrays generally have much greater power than movable arrays. Luo Feng studied for a moment and then communicated a list of materials for setting up the formation to Chongqing building owner. Lord, the list of formation materials is estimated to cost around 30 million primordial crystals, Luo Feng said. Very good, very good. Chongqing building owner showed a happy expression. I was afraid it wouldn't be expensive enough. I will immediately arrange an avatar to purchase the materials. Luo Feng was quite satisfied with Chongqing building owner's character. One reason he chose the Dan Tower was because of Chongqing building owner's good reputation. Before long, Chongqing building owner had bought the formation materials back. Brother Luo Feng, it's up to you. Chongqing building owner handed the formation materials to Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the formation materials and nodded slightly. With his experience and vision, he could design the most suitable fixed array for himself. This fixed array consists of a total of 36 formations in coordination. As they are all fixed arrays, on average the cost of each formation is nearly 1 million primordial crystals. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Above the Dan Tower's building complex center, Luo Feng floated, controlling numerous formation materials, and began setting them up one by one. Setting up a formation is akin to constructing a spaceship. Like a spaceship, there are systems that stabilize the body, those responsible for speed, for power, for scouting. Only when various systems work together does it make a spaceship. Luo Feng's array setup was much more complicated. The formations he purchased pushed the limits of life and death combinations in Yulon City, and even exceeded his current control limit. These 36 different formations all involve the mysteries of the half-primordial level. And as each cultivator's understanding of the half-primordial life path is different, it makes it even harder for Luo Feng. With his current strength, he could only exert 3 to 4 tenths of the array's potential power. Done. It took Luo Feng half a day to complete the array without any negligence. Buzz. With a thought from Luo Feng, his consciousness instantly permeated the entire grand array, which naturally started operating. Invisible fluctuations spread around the Dan Tower, with all its might converging. Although this fixed formation only exerts a small part of its power, it is still much more powerful than my Xianqing Sky Annihilation map. It even has a greater increase in power than the Undying Heart, Luo Feng marveled inwardly. This is the advantage of a fixed formation. After setting up the array, Luo Feng flew back to the main pavilion. Brother Luo Feng, you've worked hard, Changqing building owner had been watching from the side. It's a minor matter, and since I'll be stationed here long term, the stronger the formation, the safer the Dan Tower will be, Luo Feng said with a smile. By the way, Lord, I'm looking to purchase a large batch of low-level primordial life materials. It's quite a large scale. Who do you think is suitable to buy from? Quite a large scale. Changqing building owner asked, how much? At least over 2 billion primordial crystals, said Luo Feng. Changqing building owner was somewhat surprised. According to intelligence, Luo Feng hadn't been in Yulon City for long, and logically, he shouldn't have accumulated much wealth. But 2 billion primordial crystals. Even for some of the elders who have been accumulating for a long time, it would be difficult to come up with this amount at one time. This is a big deal, Changqing building owner thought for a moment. In Yulon City, there are 13 houses dealing in low-level primordial life materials. In my opinion, Elder Xingyi is the best choice for such a scale of business. Elder Xingyi, who has an excellent reputation, can be trusted not just with transactions of 2 billion primordial crystals, but even tenfold that amount, said Changqing building owner. This Elder Xingyi is quite significant, as the direct disciple of an invincible existence in the dark sacred realm. An invincible existence in the dark sacred realm. Luo Feng was astonished. The dark sacred realm, where many elite cultivators from countless worlds converge, who dares to call themselves invincible there? Changqing building owners' eyes showed envy. Even the most dazzling and talented become mediocre there. To be a member of the pinnacle level in the dark sacred realm is already an incredible feat. As for being invincible, it remains a legend, and just hoping to catch a glimpse is wishful thinking. Luo Feng held his breath. Invincible in the dark sacred realm. Elder Xingyi is such a disciple of this caliber, Changqing building owner continued. His business dealings are absolutely honest. Alright, Luo Feng had previously sold the blood demon Elisai corpse to Elder Xingyi's shop, which offered a high price, and Luo Feng also obtained Elder Xingyi's communication imprint. Luo Feng's cave mansion. Buzz. Luo Feng contacted Elder Xingyi and sent over a purchase list. The space in front of him twisted and then a figure appeared. He had a body like a tree with branches growing all over his surface. His face was dotted with green blossoms, and he wore a radiant smile. Brother Luo Feng, you want to purchase so many materials? Elder Xingyi was somewhat astonished. I think, instead of buying those various small pieces of material, you don't need to purchase low-level primordial life bloodlines separately. Please, Elder Xingyi, purchase the materials based on the shopping list. Luo Feng said. Sure. Elder Xingyi smiled and said, this is quite a big deal, you know, the prices for various materials from low-level primordial life are very clear. Luo Feng nodded. He had sold many corpses of low-level primordial life before and was clear about the other party's costs. This is the lowest price I can offer. Elder Xingyi sent over a price list. Upon reviewing it, Luo Feng was quite pleased. Elder Xingyi was indeed generous. Let's settle on this then. Luo Feng said. Good. Elder Xingyi showed delight upon hearing this. The materials you are purchasing are quite rare. Even if all 35 cities of the 9 rivers sacred realm were to gather them, it would still be troublesome. I will send some materials from the dark sacred realm. I estimate that in 3 days, we can make the trade. Do I need to pay a deposit? Luo Feng asked. No need. Elder Xingyi didn't care. In 3 days, I will come to your cave mansion. Good, then we'll do as Elder Xingyi has said. Luo Feng nodded. 3 days later, Elder Xingyi arrived at Luo Feng's cave mansion. Elder Xingyi wore a loose robe, underneath which a body like tree bark was revealed, and his head even had some branches and leaves growing. His smile brimmed with endless vitality, instinctually endearing him to Luo Feng. Brother Luo Feng, please take a look. Elder Xingyi took out a space bracelet for Luo Feng to inspect. Luo Feng checked with a thought. Many materials from low-level primordial life, along with several intact primordial bloodlines. Each bloodline was preserved with great care. Luo Feng sensed these bloodlines and confirmed their levels, understanding their basic mysteries. Correct. Luo Feng also took out a cloth bag, 2.83 billion primordial crystals. This was Luo Feng's most extravagant purchase to date. Brother Luo Feng, if you want to buy superlimit bloodlines in the future, you can also come to me anytime. Elder Xingyi laughed. What the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm doesn't have, I can help you procure from the Dark Sacred Realm. That's really too expensive, maybe in the future. Luo Feng remarked. After obtaining that 5 billion primordial crystals from Yuan Xiong Palace Master, Luo Feng could start wealthy purchasing methods, but he couldn't just buy anything he desired. He still needed to pursue cost performance and efficiency. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng made a purchase from Elder Xingyi, then bought various auxiliary cultivation medicines worth 500 million primordial crystals from Dan Tower, and carefully prepared some gifts for his mentor Emperor Chu, Mountain Sitting Guest, Primal Chaos City Lord, and others before quietly leaving Yulon City. Carrying such precious items, Luo Feng naturally brought along the Undying Heart, Palm World, and discreetly left Yulon City. Luo Feng once again returned to the land of origin. Inside Star Tower. Boom tilde tilde tilde. All the materials and items purchased were laid out. Luo Feng opened the Eye of Life and Death from his forehead, and under its observation, comparable to high-level primordial life, the deep mysteries of these materials and each bloodline can be scrutinized. This is an early-stage divine emperor offspring from the low-level primordial life Nirvana Fire Tribulation Snake Clan. Luo Feng looked at the 15 types of fragmented materials laid out in front of him. There were teeth, scales, bones, membranes. I have contemplated it for a long time, and with the Eye of Life and Death, I've thoroughly studied these 15 kinds of materials. I've already completed the various mysteries of an early-stage Nirvana Fire Tribulation Snake Clan Divine Emperor in my mind. Luo Feng turned to look at the jade stone holding the complete bloodline burning with a black flame. This is a refined complete bloodline of an early-stage divine emperor from the Nirvana Fire Tribulation Snake Clan. A complete bloodline contains all the mysteries. Luo Feng was quite expectant. Now let's see how much difference there is between the mysteries I've completed in my mind and the complete bloodline. In the past, he used the poverty purchasing method, getting bits and pieces and comprehending the mysteries from them, eventually completing them in mind to form a whole. Thus, Luo Feng's Eye of Life and Death observed the bloodline burning with black flame. Luo Feng was slightly startled. The mysteries I've completed in my mind are too crude. This is natural perfection. Luo Feng learned a great deal. He observed more than a dozen fragmented materials with the Eye of Life and Death, studying them in depth and completing them in his mind. It was like solving a problem. And a complete bloodline was the perfect answer, naturally born in the vast primordial space. After finishing the problems and comparing them with the answer, Luo Feng understood the gap. Life and destruction can be combined like this. I've learned something. Luo Feng was delighted, carefully experiencing these methods of combining the mysteries. It seemed just a complete bloodline of early-stage God Emperor level low-level primordial life, but for Luo Feng at this moment, the gains were still immense. After all, these beings were born to break out of their confines. This video will end here.